Well, hello everyone. I hope you're having a great day today. Welcome to Wednesday's edition of Take 5. We are talking about the subject, the sacrifice of excellence, and we are looking at God's complaint with Israel and the Old Testament priest and how they were bringing less than excellent sacrifices to Him. They were bringing second-rate, second-handed, half-hearted sacrifices, blind, broke-legged, crooked-tailed, spotted-up lambs. They were bringing all of those to sacrifice unto God instead of bringing Him what He had demanded, and that was the very best that they had. That's what He wanted. That's what He demanded. And to be quite honest with you, that's what He deserves, because God is excellent in everything that He does, and in everything that He is, God is excellent. There's nothing about Him that has never been excellent. When He gave the supreme sacrifice for our lives in Jesus Christ, He gave us the best. He gave us the most excellent sacrifice that He had, and we owe Him that same thing. Now, the sacrifice that we bring to Him is the sacrifice of daily living. Yesterday, we talked about the Old Testament sacrifices, how the people of Israel had annual sacrifices and monthly sacrifices and weekly and then daily. Those daily ones, the Bible calls them continual burnt offerings. They're continual sacrifice because that's what God wants from us each and every day, because He wants the best of our heart, the best of our thoughts, the best of our strength. He wants that every day. As a matter of fact, when you compare this to what Jesus said, he said that we're supposed to love the Lord our God with all of our heart, with all of our soul, with all of our mind, and with all of our strength. That is the best that we have. That is the sacrifice of excellence. Now, we've used the term sacrifice a whole lot, and we need to keep in mind that that is what it is, because that means it's supposed to cost us something. It should cost us something to give God our very best, because it cost Him something to save us. So this idea that God expects this sacrificial lifestyle every day means that something of value is going to have to die or be given up by us in order for this to be a sacrifice. If we're going to make this continual sacrifice of walking with Jesus on a daily basis, it's going to have to cost us something. To do this, it means that something in your flesh is going to have to die every day. It might be specific personal, dreams or goals or agendas. It might be personal thoughts or habits, desires, likes, dislikes, whatever the case may be. But in the long run, all of that you sacrifice to walk with God is going to be worth it, because God is well pleased with the sacrifice of excellence. Now, you would wonder, why would you ever even have to bring this subject up? Why is our need to pursue excellence and the lack of that pursuit in many cases, why is that even an issue with the people of God? You would think that Christians would widely embrace the fact that God is excellent and He has called us to a life of excellence. You would think that that wouldn't even be a question, and that our constant mindset would be to strive to serve Him with excellence like He demands and like should be our desire. But all you got to do is look at the people in our churches today and the people that claim to be Christians, and you know that this is not necessarily the case. Most people today push God to the back burner, and they consider themselves, their lives, their families, their dreams, their desires, their pleasures way before they ever consider God. And so when you do that, you know we're not giving Him our best, and you know we're not making the sacrifice of excellence. There's just really no way to serve God with excellence in every aspect of your life and it not cost you something. It's always going to be a sacrifice. As a matter of fact, the Bible tells us that God expects our lives and our service to Him to be one continual sacrifice after another. You remember what Romans 12:1 says? It says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the living God, that you present yourselves a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Let me read that to you from another translation. He says, "So I beg you, brothers and sisters, because of the great mercy of God." Now, this is why you're doing it. Because of the great mercy of God that He has shown us, offer your lives as a living sacrifice to Him, an offering that is only for God and pleasing to Him, considering what He has done. And it is only right that you should worship Him in this way. That is our reasonable service. God wants a continual sacrifice. But by nature, people like things comfortable. They like things convenient. But there is nothing about the idea of a sacrifice that fits in the mold of either one of these. It just doesn't happen. Excellence is always going to be a sacrifice because it's always going to cost you something to strive for excellence. This very idea of comfort and convenience in service, instead of making the sacrifice of excellence, has been around as long as there have been people. It's always existed. You can go back from the book of Genesis to this very day, and you can find people that were looking for shortcuts. One great example of this all the way back in Genesis with the first two children that were born is with Cain and Abel. Hebrews 11:4 said, "By faith Abel offered a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, through which he obtained witness that he was righteous, God testifying of his gifts, and through it he being dead, still speaks till this day." God accepted and even testified of Abel's sacrifice there because he brought it with excellence. He didn't cut any corners. He spared no personal expense in his service to God, even though his brother Cain chose an easier route. You know, if you go back and you read what was happening there, you see how God accepted one sacrifice and He didn't the other, but He had told them both what to do. The Bible tells us there. And when Cain got angry, he said, "Why are you mad? You knew what to do." Genesis chapter 4 said, "In the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to the Lord, and Abel brought of the firstborn of his flock, and the Lord respected Abel and his offering, but He did not respect Cain and his offering." Now, why, Russ, did that happen? Well, I simply believe it's this. It wasn't that God did not and would not take an offering of the fruits of the ground, but He wanted it to be the first fruits. I taught you this. He wants the firstling of the flock. He wants the first fruits when we bring it. And the Bible said that Cain brought an offering. It did not say he brought the first to God. He just brought an offering, what was convenient for him. Abel brought the firstling of his flock. And the Bible said God respected Abel's sacrifice, but He rejected Cain's. Listen to me, friend. I know it's not something we want to hear in this hour of easy grace that we have made up in our mind today, but there are sacrifices that God will not accept. And when we don't bring Him our very best, God won't receive it. He'll reject it. But when you bring Him excellence, He will receive it every time and honor that kind of sacrifice. Well, hey, I've got to get out of here. It's been good being with you today. I look forward to being with you tomorrow on Thursday's edition of Take 5. Till then, God bless you. Have a great day. Remember, friend, trust the Lord. He will never fail you.